So basically I've been following this guy's journey all on the way until now, and he finally made a video about World of Warcraft being the last good MMO for new players. Now, I'm not even joking, I said this for years, and retail babies called me an idiot. And you know what? Even though they're right, they're still wrong about this.
And I'm having so much fun, even though I'm just... If you've been watching my YouTube channel recently, you already know that I just started playing Classic WoW for the first time ever, and I'm having so much fun. Even though I am currently only 2 episodes into my 1 to 60 series, I am already hooked on this game and cannot wait to play more. But today, I want to pause and take a moment to do something a little bit different because I need to come clean. There is something I've been hiding from all of you in this series thus far. I have already tried to ruin the magic of WoW for myself in a way that many of us do when we first play a new game.
Yes.
But this game wouldn't let...
Pull that guide, baby. He's already a retail player. Wow. They grow up so fast.
It was this really weird thing that happened early on in my playthrough that I want to talk about today because, in short, WoW has a very strange quirk of its community and ecosystem that no other game I've ever played has. And this quirk might just make WoW one of the last great MMOs for new players to pick up and start playing even today. It's all a bit tough to put into words, but bear with me. This is one of the most fascinating things I've come across in gaming, and I think you might find it interesting. So sit back, grab a cup of coffee, and enjoy. Except, before we get into all of that, first, this video is sponsored by World of Warships.
Bruh.
A very exciting thing for me as
A bit
history
unrelated.
buff. So as all
Okay, usually I don't skip advertisement because I respect the hustle. That being said, we are short on the PoE patch and I can't afford to waste any more time. I really want to play the new patch, so let's just see through this video, but definitely respect the hustle. I truly love this dude. Makes some great videos.
Ow. Okay, so a little context quickly to catch everybody up. This year I started playing World of Warcraft for the first time, and even though I'm showing up to the party 20 plus years late, this game has aged like fine wine. Even though I am playing the classic era version from 2004, it is still hooking me just as hard as it did everyone else years ago, which you all have seen firsthand if you've watched my recent videos.
Where are the retail advocates that told me that Classic is pure nostalgia and no one is ever going to like this game? I mean, it was so funny for me to see their entire apparatus crumble and fall apart whenever Classic WoW actually re-released and everyone played it. It wasn't nostalgia. I know, because I came into World of Warcraft during Draenor. So, I wasn't nostalgia bound. I just fell in love with the game because it was actually that good.
Notice, though, that part of the fun
They're delusional.
might just be from the fact that it's been really enjoyable for me to play a game where I don't already have all the answers. As a bit of personal history, before playing WoW, I had primarily spent the past 15 years as a League of Legends player, and one of the interesting things I noticed during that time frame was seeing how the game went from a new fun strategy title to a puzzle everyone figured out. Like in the early days of League, there was an electric sense of discovery everybody felt when they first tried the game out. Nobody understood what roles a team should have, what items somebody should build, or which characters were truly best. Most of us would spend currency to unlock champions, not because we knew we were gonna like playing them, but because that character just beat us really badly in a recent match and we had to see firsthand if they were actually as overpowered as they felt to play against.
Man, early days of the internet, guys, you really should have been there. It was so good. We truly had it so good and we didn't even know it. Like, only now I can look back, reflect, and appreciate the times that I had back in the day because they're never going to come back. We live in an information era where everything has to be min-max because social media enforces that garbage. And we're never going to get rid of it. Why? Because the communities that we're part of, willingly or not, they're like this. And there's no escape. We're just completely screwed. I remember League of Legends early days. I started playing Season 3. I remember Dota early days. It was crazy. Not like original, like Dota 2, obviously. But it's so crazy just to reflect and watch all of this. Man, we are truly gone. I heard that nowadays in League of Legends, every single character, new character that comes out has like 7 different abilities, a dash, and all that stuff. I don't know if that's true. If any of you are, is a League player, you're banned.
Forward to the 2020s though, and today the game is an entirely different beast. There is no mystery left, and not just because some of us have been playing for 15 years. As time went on, the League ecosystem evolved to a point where we simply developed so many guides and resources, it became hard for even new players to ever feel lost. Websites like OPGG laid out in very plain terms what champions were most played, every counterpick matchup in-game, and what you should build in every possible situation you might encounter, which means that even the newest players trying League out for the first time today are better equipped to understand the game than high elo players were back in Season 1. It's kind of a testament to human achievement that people have gotten so good at solving all the problems in this game, and League isn't the only one. The other title many of you know I've been playing off and on for the past 20 years has been RuneScape, which might be an even better example of how well people can solve a game with the god tier OSRS wiki. Whether you need to look up how to best train a skill, or a guide for how to complete a quest, or even every weapon and armor itemization showing different best-in-slot tools and alternatives to fight each individual boss you will come across in-game.
Wait until you see the Guild Wars 2 wiki. He doesn't know. He doesn't know.
I think all that information is partially how WoW streamers were able to migrate over to the community last year.
We're playing PoE today. New patch.
Some truly impressive feats. But with all that being said, I have always been of the opinion that if you're given too much guidance when you first start playing a game, you lose some of the magic. Like, one of my favorite YouTubers right now is an OSRS creator known as Mad Season Show, who's recently been doing a blind playthrough of RuneScape. He's been choosing to not look up any quest solutions or leveling guides or get third-party help, even when he gets incredibly stuck. This has been specifically fun and entertaining to watch on YouTube because, firstly, nobody does this in RuneScape. Nobody is willing to sit through all of the obscure and difficult quest puzzles the way that he does, or completely fill out their Barrows collection log by running from the Varrock teleport through the Paterdomus Temple for every one of his over 500 Barrows clears. But it's also been fun to watch because for RuneScape veterans like me, it is oddly nostalgic. If you're someone that started playing this game years ago, you remember what it was like when you were first running into quests that you didn't.
Guys, remember where you remember the era where PCs had like a turbo button? Or I'm the only one that's old enough to actually remember that. I'm not really sure. But regardless, I mean, to be fair, all of these content creators that doing different stuff, honestly, I couldn't appreciate them more. It's insane. Like today, it feels like everyone is doing the same thing over and over again. It feels like every video we're watching is either a review or a guide. It's just so unfortunate that we don't have fun videos anymore. And I really think that MMOs suffer for it, especially Guild Wars 2. I think is the worst culprit of it. But to be fair, most MMOs are like that. Like literally most of them. So it's very unfortunate. What the fuck is a turbo button? Yeah, you're too young. You're too young to be here. It's fine. It's okay. Be the change. I'm trying to. But unfortunately, nobody watches me yet.
Know how to finish, stumbling into areas with training methods you hadn't discovered. MMOs in general are great at creating that sense of excitement that comes from discoveries you make through exploration.
How much money would one need to donate for you to play retail WoW midnight for 5 hours? Dog, no, don't do this to me, okay? Like, don't even offer that. Please don't, just leave me alone. I'm suffering enough.
And it's been awesome to see
as
a
it is,
new
like
player
I'm suffering.
Pick up a new MMO, ignoring all the guidance available in favor of keeping that old school magical experience. And you can probably start to see where I'm going with this. This whole discussion is partially why when I started playing Classic WoW, I told myself that I was going to try to not use any guides or walkthroughs as much as physically possible. I knew beforehand that WoW is a much more social and community-oriented game compared to RuneScape, so it probably wasn't feasible to do a Mad Season style challenge of never looking anything up, so I didn't create a hard and fast rule. But I did want to have that true-to-life MMO experience where I allowed myself to wander around, getting lost in the world, exploring at a slow and perhaps inefficient pace. And I am so glad I did it that way. Playing WoW with no add-ons or guides or walkthroughs made it so magical, running through the Elwyn Forest, slowly uncovering the world through nothing but quest text telling me where to go, looking at street signs to learn the layouts of towns and cities. There are even NPC guards in-game that gave me directions to go and find specific characters when I couldn't figure out where they were. It was incredible. It made me convinced that playing through games blind like this is always the way to go. But as I said at the start of this video,
it is, and that's why I play every game blind for the first time. That's why I'm currently, as a degenerate WoW player, raid through Guild Wars 2 blind. I don't check anything. No guides, no certain shorts, nothing. Literally nothing. And you know what? It's so much fun. And I actually think that it's so much fun to watch as well, because people who already know the mechanic likes to see some newbie that came from World of Warcraft and trying to like figure his way in the dark. And it's way more entertaining that way. So I couldn't be happier that this is how we go about it. And I'll keep continue doing this, because going in blind is not only more fun, it's just such a better learning experience. When you're trying to follow a guide or something, you don't really learn anything, you're just kind of copying it. So nothing really sticks. But when you actually activate your singular brain cell and try to figure out stuff on your own, it will stick with you. Not only as an experience, but as a lesson, which is way, way more beneficial for you down the line.
Even though I was having so much fun playing blind, I still tried to ruin the experience by looking up a guide at one point. And it didn't work, which floored me. Eagle-eyed viewers may have noticed that in episode 1, there was a point when I had picked up a profession, herbalism, but I never showcased or even mentioned any skills at all. It wasn't until episode 2 when I first mentioned training professions in my gameplay, except even then, I didn't mention herbalism, instead talking about how I had chosen to grab blacksmithing and mining. And the reason for all of this is because that herbalism moment is where I tried to ruin things for myself, and I felt slightly ashamed. When I was exploring Elwyn Forest, somewhere around level 9 or 10, that was the moment when I stumbled across a house buried in the side of a mountain, and first came across a profession trainer who could teach me the herbalism skill. Honestly, I was really excited at the time. I've always loved skilling it.
He thought she was hot, and he just agreed to become an herbalist for her. Based. Absolutely based.
In MMOs, and it was a thrill to come across a new thing I could level up in WoW. But being an OSRS player, my first thought when encountering a new skill was I should probably look up a leveling guide. I figured that might not be a bad idea. Looking up a guide in this specific instance shouldn't spoil any part of the story or lore of the world. It would only give me a bit of guidance in helping me not fall behind on my skills as I continued.
Check my flower guide, bro. You're gonna get all the flowers under an hour. It's so degenerate. I truly hate current day World of Warcraft mentality. I truly am. I just had enough of it. And I bet he's going to show it now too, which is going to make me cringe even harder. You really need guides and paths to do mining most optimally. And same with herbalism and all that stuff. It's so garbage. It is truly so garbage.
Leveling combat. So I googled herbalism guide, and the first thing that popped up was a Wowhead link for how to go from 1 to 300 in the skill. Okay, this is probably what I'm looking for. Wowhead is like the OSRS wiki, I guess. So I clicked the link.
He's entering the rabbit hole.
And I couldn't understand any of what I was looking at. The first thing I normally do when opening up a new wiki page like this is I look at the top left-hand corner. That's where I should find a table of contents to help me navigate. At least that's where most wiki pages put it. But the first thing I saw at the top left here was a 5-star rating system, showing me how good the guide is, I guess. Below that is an overview, but with sub-tabs that show link to pages called Profession Overview, Endgame Recipes, and Fun Items from Fishing, whatever that means. Further down, I can see the herbalism section of the Professions Guide, but if I try to scroll down to actually see the table of contents, which is currently cut off by the bottom of my screen, then the whole web page starts to scroll as I begin moving down the actual article. This is much more difficult to navigate than I thought. And perhaps, unsurprisingly, the actual content of the page was just as hard for me to follow.
We started gatekeeping information. Wow, we have truly ascended as human beings. That is great. That is absolutely fantastic. And the reason for why the site looks like that is because to inflate the ego of the dumb WoW players trying to like understand what the hell they're doing. So it just to show you, it's another method of gatekeeping and this hive mind of, oh, I'm better than you. Look at the scroll of text. By the way, none of this matters. You can literally distill this entire article to the best portion of it. Just go through these routes and you're good. Whenever I enter a Wowhead guide, if I ever want to just remember something real quick, I just instantly skip to the bottom and the best parts are there. You don't need to read all of that. You truly don't. But I guess a new player that checks a guide would never get that. Like, he would never know that. It is so insane. It is absolutely peak insanity, but I guess it is what it is.
The way this post is structured, there appear to be two separate overviews with a lot of information that I flat out do not understand. You can't track herbs and mines at the same time in Classic. Okay, what on earth does that mean, and why is that relevant to the guide? Herbalism nodes do not give experience. What does that mean, and how am I supposed to train the skill then? If I scroll further, I can find herbalism trainers listed out on a table, something I am a bit more used to navigating, except this table shows me where each trainer is with some kind of waypoint coordinates. I don't know what these are or how to see them in game. Like, that's not something I can naturally make come up on my minimap, I don't think.
God.
I eventually scroll down far enough to a point where I can find some of the info I was looking for, like herbs available to harvest in game and what level I need to harvest each one of them. But even here, it's a little bit confusing. Each one of these herbs has 4 different levels attached to them, which I don't know why that is.
Exactly. Yeah, he wouldn't know, he wouldn't understand that this is like the picking level. Each level, each color you see is basically your chances of getting a level from picking the same flower. So this, if you're level 1 in herbalism and you pick that, you instantly go up a level. If you're level 25, then yeah, it's not going to go up. I mean, it is going to go up, but it's like, what, 70% chance, something like that? I don't remember. And green, you can still get XP, but barely. And gray, you don't get any experience. So it really just depends. It really just, like, nobody really knows what it means whenever they're new. And it's like the website already assumes that you know what you're doing. And that's the problem with World of Warcraft, both Blizzard and community-wise. They're always assuming you have played a game before. It's like they are incapable of conceiving the idea that anyone new actually want to play the game. It is so dumb.
Harvesting these herbs at different levels give you different amounts of experience? If so, why is there no marker showing me how much experience I get at each level? And on top of all of that, it only tells me where I can gather each herb by listing the regions in-game through plain text. But remember, I'm a new player that's never seen a region other than Elwyn Forest. I have no idea what these words are or where I should go.
Told you. Like, it is what it is. He's right. And I'm glad more new players, such as himself, are making these videos because you need to highlight these issues. Whenever I talk about it, people are like, oh, who cares? You already know that stuff. Like, dog, I'm always considerate of new players because I understand that if we want to keep the game alive, we need to stop hemorrhaging new players and old players because eventually old players are, will quit. Right? I know nowadays Blizzard is milking them and they're keeping them in a vault for, the future where they need to farm us for batteries, as AI progress and all that stuff. But we still need newcomers. We still need them. They are the lifeblood of the game. It's very important we get newer people. And come on, we have to alleviate their pain a little bit.
I'm used to wikis and guides where anytime they introduce a new thing I might not know about, it's always listed as a hyperlink where I can click that link to go and see what this is and where I can find it. Not only are these not hyperlinks to their own pages, but even if I copy paste and search for them in the search bar up above, there is no map or guidance telling me where I can find this place in the world. It's like I'm just supposed to naturally know.
What do you mean there isn't a map? It's right here. What? Can't you see it? Look at that. Can't you extrapolate the information from this picture? Are you telling me that this is illegible? What are you talking about? I understand everything. This is the Wailing Caverns. You start here, you go here, you do, and then you end up here. It's just that easy, bro. Just get good.
know where everything is. This whole post is written in a way where it's not like it's an objective wiki that anyone should be able to follow, but more like it's a subjective guide written by one WoW veteran who is only expecting other WoW players will read it. And to be clear, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not even saying this.
It is 100% a bad thing. 100% a bad thing, and for the same reason, whenever I try to explain something, I never assume that you guys already know what I'm talking about, because I'm always assuming that someone new is watching my videos. So, yeah, I disagree with him here completely. This is 100% a bad thing, and it should never be, like, literally implemented. It's so dumb. Like, I'm saying it all, I'm just like a broken record. I'm just repeating myself. It really is so infuriating how inconsiderate WoW veterans are of new players. It's truly just mesmerizing.
This is a bad guide. To a WoW player, this is probably a perfectly good and easy to follow guide that anyone who knows their way around the game will be able to understand no problem. But I was a completely new player when I came across this page. I just Googled the most obvious thing I could think of and clicked the first link the same way I would any other game I played, but it was incomprehensible to me. Maybe I'm just stupid, but this was so surprising. I was curious if this was a one-off example or if all the other resources I would normally look up when playing a new game would be equally hard to understand. So I thought later on in my playthrough, after completing certain pieces of content, I would make it a habit to go back and check those guides to see if any of those walkthroughs would be just as obtuse. And spoiler alert, the other guides weren't any easier to understand. How about drop tables? I'm used to looking those up in an MMO all the time. They're a pretty integral part of the genre and should be easy as hell to read. You just have a monster, the items they drop, and the frequency at which they drop said items, normally represented as a fraction. It can't get more complicated than that, right? Nope, that's wrong. After I did my first Dead Mines run and killed Edwin Van Cleef, I looked up his drop table on Wowhead, and I still don't really know what I'm looking at. What is an eye level? What are modes, seasons, versions, and why are they all blank? Why is there
Hey, to be fair, there's an add-on for that. You should have had Atlas Loot, but nobody told him, so he does not know.
Column for the source of the item? I am at Edwin Van Cleef's drop table. He should be listed at the source for every one, right? Wait, why is he not listed as the source for every item? Okay, I can finally see the drop rate is listed over here. It's listed as a percentage, kind of, in very small text at the far right side of the screen, but it's also written as a fraction, except with these weird counts rather than an actual fraction. And are these even correct? I know the unsent letter is a quest item. I should always get that when I'm on that part of the quest. Does it actually only drop 54% of the time? Also, why is there a huge button asking if I want to see the page in 3D? What does that even mean? But wait, why stop there? Why don't we try to look up a quest guide? Let's go ahead and do one for a quest that I've already done so I don't spoil myself. How about the Defias Brotherhood quest in Westfall that led to me killing Edwin Van Cleef? Let's check that page out. Okay, apparently there are 5 quests that all have the exact same name and also unlock a new quest with the same name too. That's not confusing at all. This page is showing me one of those quests, and again, if I'm a new player, I don't know what the hell I'm looking at here or how to go about doing this quest. Since I've already done it, I know that this quest is the one where I'm supposed to track down and kill the Defias messenger, grabbing a letter off of his body before returning it to Gryan's Stoutmantle. But put yourself in the shoes of a new player for a moment. If you look this quest up and try to figure out the information about how to go about completing it, the first thing you're going to ask when seeing this page is, why do I have 4 markers on the minimap here and nothing else? There is no text or indication here telling me I need to kill an NPC to get the letter as a drop, and these 4 markers don't show the full area he can be found roaming around. Even the rewards section of this guide doesn't really make sense. It just says I'm going to receive 0 copper. I don't know why the experience you get for completing it isn't listed here. Again, I know all of this is easy to understand for people that already play World of Warcraft, but the kind of person searching for a guide on this quest is not someone that's already played a lot of World of Warcraft. But you know what? Here's the twist.
No, it's for old boomers trying to remember the good old days and like, oh, wait, where was Menkrick wife again? Oh yeah, right. And basically it's for them, okay? It's for us oldies whose brain is not working as it used to anymore. So we kind of need that little help. But for new players, nah. You guys are screwed.
I think this is awesome, and it saved
PoE
my
after
classic
that, don't
WoW
worry.
experience. Going back to my first moment, looking up that herbalism guide, it was frustrating for the first 5 minutes when I found the page and couldn't understand what I was looking at. But you know what I did next? I just went back to playing the game. I started wandering around, exploring Elwyn Forest to try to see if I could find an herb to pick, and when I eventually did bump into a node and began harvesting it, it felt exciting. Slowly but surely, through the gameplay, I started to learn the systems of how the skill worked. Like, apparently I was so bad at picking flowers that I could fail attempts at harvesting them. And this was awesome for me because it was one of the first times, maybe since the early 2000s, where I was forced to learn about how a game worked by playing the game rather than looking up a guide. Somewhere over my personal gaming history, I just developed a habit. Anytime I encountered a puzzle or mystery or issue I couldn't solve in-game, I would just go look up a guide. Whether I wanted a champion build in League of Legends, or a quest guide in RuneScape, or a walkthrough to make sure I didn't miss any side stories in a JRPG. But that habit I developed kind of spoiled so many of the games I've played. Looking up
It literally destroys the entire experience, and I know because I used to do it myself. I used to do it all the time. I try to min-max, and brother, it gets tiring, okay? And not only that, it just completely destroys the experience. You don't get to experience anything new because you're spoiling yourself every single second. So you can't even be surprised. But I guess most people nowadays, they don't care. They just want to be good at the game. They're willing to do everything. They're willing to abandon the experience. They're willing to abandon the fun element. All for the sake of what? Garnering more points from some idiots online that don't really care about you, just so they can clap like seals and be like, oh, nice DPS. Like, no. Just, honestly, no. Who cares about them? Who cares about them? Just have your fun, boo-boo. And I'm saying this as a competitive player, by the way. If you want to have fun, be chill player, learn by yourself. Trust me, the process would make itself worth tenfold. You'll appreciate it way, way better. What they have to completely trash this game, and the only way to save it is to fire everyone and bring back the people who build the game originally. True, but the people who build the game originally doesn't want to be involved with Blizzard anymore, because nowadays Blizzard isn't the greatest company on planet Earth. Now there are a bunch of milk drinkers and cube crawlers, and oh yeah, let's not forget about the Cosby Suite and all of that stuff.
Guide on what the most optimal build is in League isn't nearly as fun as theory crafting your own build and figuring out what the items actually do. Going through a checklist quest helper in RuneScape leaves you missing so much of the story and dialogue and jokes that are genuinely quality. And if you're going through a step-by-step walkthrough for some RPG you're playing, you are missing out on the freedom of exploring the world at your own pace rather than just following in someone else's footsteps. I think I always knew this logically, that I was spoiling many of these games for myself and missing out on some fun, but it was a habit I had. I wasn't gonna break this habit, at least not until I played Classic WoW. World of Warcraft might be the first game I've ever played that seemingly only has guides written in obtuse language and in a way that's difficult to understand for new players, to a point that new players like me are forced to go back and experience the world naturally, which is way more fun than using a walkthrough. I should mention, I do know now that there are a few options players have available if they really want to spoil themselves in WoW the way I'm describing, namely in the form of add-ons. There are some add-ons WoW players have at their disposal that do give that simple checklist.
It's so funny that he calls add-on spoilers. I mean, he's 100% right, but it's so integral of the WoW player mentality nowadays. Even hearing him saying, like, oh, players are ruining their experience with add-ons, I'm like, what? I'm like, oh, yeah, he's right. Yeah, he's right. I mean, honestly, add-ons should be abolished. They shouldn't be a part of any MMO whatsoever. They should be baked into the game. And I guess I'll give kudos to Blizzard here. They did a pretty good job with Midnight integrating most of the add-ons. Now, they did it poorly, of course, because it's Blizzard. But still, the idea was noble, and I can commend them for it. You know, it's not all doom and gloom. You see, I can give Blizzard a small W when necessary. When earned, rightfully.
List guide that can speed level you through content while missing out on the thrill of discovering and exploring
of course,
things
they messed
yourself
up. They
if
messed
you're a
up
new
some
player.
add-ons.
But somehow, even this is still kind of a barrier that prevents new players from experiencing it. Because these guides all come in the form of add-ons, not only does that mean a new player has to figure out how to download, set up, and begin using an add-on from a third-party system before they even start playing the game, but even the walkthroughs themselves are kind of hidden behind terminology a fresh face won't understand. If a new player asks a WoW veteran how they can efficiently level from 1 to 60 the most quickly, and the WoW player tells them just use rested XP, that new player is going to spend the next 200 hours focused solely on logging out in a city or tavern to make sure they max out their rested XP. It's amazing. It's poetic. MMOs
Just pay a mage to boost you. That simple. It's that simple.
are the one genre that hinges so hard
Or pay Blizzard.
on players not spoiling the world for themselves before they explore it. It's genius that so much of WoW's guidance is buried behind terminology and add-ons and old forum style posts that new players can't parse. But wait, it doesn't end there. There's even more. As time went on and I kept playing WoW.
And by the way, he's absolutely right about that too, because they're trying to teach you endgame when you just began. They're trying to make you run before you can even crawl. That's the problem. They're trying to cram 20 years of information down your throat all at once. It's insane. Well, not exactly 20, because you are limited by, you know, classic, right? So they're trying to cram, what, like 3 years of information down your throat? It's way too much. It is way too much. No one can comprehend that much information. It's sensory overload, and it just make your brain go numb. You should never try to do that. You should always try to experience the game for yourself. And even when I'm teaching like newer players to play and they ask me for advice, I tell them just play the game. Just play the game, make mistakes. That is the best course of action you can take.
Eventually, I did start to learn enough about the game and its terminology that I could begin understanding some of these guides myself. And at that point, I really started to appreciate the way that these guides are written. Because WoW doesn't have the same kind of boring, sterile OPGG pages that crunch analytics and spit out objective answers. It doesn't have an OSRS style wiki with a faceless centralized hub that provides all the information everybody could possibly need. World of Warcraft instead has guides that are written like they are forum posts. They're human and subjective and written conversationally, apparently even open to disagreement. If I want to look up a dungeon guide, I can't just go search up the basics on a boring wiki page. I have to watch a YouTube video made by another player who explains things to me, or alternatively read 2,000 words of text on a forum. It's kind of beautiful that even WoW's guides feel like they're an MMO. They're collaborative and conversational and full of old arguments in comment sections.
Yeah.
The guides aren't just a website.
Man, watching the old comments on Wowhead, like from 2004, it truly is a time capsule. We should conserve that. That's crazy good. I used to watch the Blackrock Mountain guides, right? And I like Blackrock Depth, sorry. I watched the guides and I heard some people talking about the crumpled up note and how it frames Onyxia as being like the villain inside of Stormwind. And I'm like, dog, like everyone knows that. And then I looked at the date and it was 2005. It was crazy. Like that was so funny to see. And I mean, it just goes to show like people actually read back then. It was insane. Nowadays, everyone like, we already know everything. There's no climax. There's no excitement. It's just, yeah. We kind of play for the vibes and that's it. I think that is the reason for why most people, especially me, are excited for Classic Plus. Because we truly want to pivot from that old lore and try something new. And I really hope, well, yeah, I really hope Blizzard can deliver that.
Telling you how to play.
Oh, God.
Other players discussing their ideas and sharing pet theories, all in a vibrant community.
That's
such a cool thing to see in a game nowadays. I do know that WoW is a game that's 20 plus years old, and I am not saying it hasn't been solved in the same way that every other MMO has. I don't doubt there are probably thousands of WoW players out there that can recite from memory every single best in slot item for every class in vanilla and what their sources are. are. But World of Warcraft is the only game I've ever played that doesn't give new players all that information from the start, the moment they try to search it on Google, which is so awesome. MMOs as a genre are all about that feeling of getting lost and exploring at your own pace, whatever that pace might be. And that's the reason I think WoW is honestly one of the best MMOs for new players to start playing today. If you're on the fence about trying WoW for the first time yourself, don't be. Go ahead and dive right in. This game has held up incredibly well even after all this time. I'm still not going to be using any guides to the best of my ability on my 1 to 60 series. Just make sure that you never use rested XP. That would actually kill the magic that I'm talking about.
He called them out.
Just use rested XP in-game to level. There is no other rested XP you need to worry about. Anyway, though, on that note, the next episode of my class...
Absolutely. Fire video. Fire video. I'm going to leave a link in the description. You guys should watch this guy for yourself. Give him a like. I love watching his journey, man. Like, I feel like he revitalizes me. You know what I'm saying? Like, watching him going through the same lanes that I used to roam back in the day, it's so wonderful to see. It's so lovely. It truly reminds me the time where my friend and I played Classic World of Warcraft for the first time together when it was re-released. Obviously, I didn't play Classic as a kid, but it just reminded me how I fell in love with an MMO for the first time, because I used to play a ton of MMOs. None of them captured me. I didn't even hit max level in any MMO. I just played until almost max level and that's it. Save for MU. MU was like MU and MapleStory. They were the only two MMOs I actually hit max level in. But yeah, I mean, so old, right? I know. I'm balding, guys. It's over. I'm cooked. But it's just so crazy for me to see another new player doing the exact same thing I used to do back in the day. That being said, I did play with my friend, which was a seasoned veteran, so he did kind of guide me, but it was a natural way. We didn't look up any guides, we were just kind of roaming around doing shenanigans. It was the best time of my life. I really hope this will return in Classic Plus. I really hope we can all play Classic Plus together. I'm starting to grow my community, so I would actually really like it for when the time will come. We can all make a guild together and have fun. I think this is going to be a blast. But yeah, regardless, great video.